Did you know that kinky wellness is integral to your self-development? Hi, welcome to The Partition, home of kinky wellness, the ultimate destination to explore the integral connection between kinky wellness and your personal development. I'm your host and kinky wellness coach, Dana Schurgel, and I'm here to show why kinky sexual wellness deserves a rightful spot within the wellness conversation. Don't forget to join me each Monday as I bring on a special guest to dive into specific aspects of kinky wellness. So let's strip away the shame and taboo together and have an open conversation about it. Hey, and welcome back. In case you didn't know, we have entered Masturbation May. But to be honest, the only reason why I know that is because earlier this week, I was filming some masturbation tips for Jordan Danielle and her show. And in case the name doesn't ring a bell, Jordan was on the show in episode 149, Intro to Menstrual Cycles, as she is the founder of the Vaginas, Vulvas, and Vibrators podcast. And if you haven't checked out Jordan already, you totally should because she's an amazing person and an amazing sexual health educator. And her Instagram social links will be in the description. But anyways, because of her, I'm kicking off May by joining in on the fun and dedicating this episode to masturbation. But be sure to listen to the end because I'll be giving the same tips I gave to her to you. But when it comes to masturbation, I don't even know where to start. It's such a vast topic that means so many different things to so many different people. And truth be told, my relationship with masturbation has been a long journey indeed. And I know that I was having sex well before I was successfully masturbating. Because as I've mentioned before, I didn't grow up in a household that talked about sex or sexual health. And my government education certainly didn't include it during their health class. So, really, the topic of masturbation just didn't come up. So, because of this, pornography did indeed become my primary resource for sex education. And at the time, the porn that I was watching almost never had a woman masturbating. And even if she was, you've seen it, guys, right? The actions are grandiose, they're exaggerated, they're for show. The women touching themselves are never doing it for them. It's always for the viewer's entertainment. So, really, when it came to masturbation, I just didn't know what I didn't know, right? So, how I went around masturbation was more like monkey see, monkey do. And I tried to recreate what I saw on the screen with little to no success. And it wasn't until my mid 20s, I would say, that I started taking masturbation and self pleasure seriously. And that's when I got that realization that our society would rather push women into hookup culture than educate themselves on how to pleasure themselves. And I know I've said this before, but I'm saying it again because I really do believe that I live in a society that encourages women to allow strangers to touch them, but then shames them for touching themselves too. For instance, I remember reading magazines like Cosmo, right? And it would be article after article or tip after tip on how to look better or attract a man. And although this magazine is supposed to be a woman's sexual magazine, right? I don't really remember very much information being given out about how to masturbate or for the female self pleasure. But I sure know that they had a lot of tips on how to get guys. And really, like, my favorite part of Cosmo, for those who have read it, is the quizzes at the back there. But in the same breath, as much as this is my experience and masturbation wasn't really a topic, I do know that this is starting to change, right? Because I know that there's more and more conversations opening up about the importance of masturbation with teenagers, which is wonderful because teaching our youth who are going into puberty or, they're around that age of puberty, or maybe they are mature enough, they really can learn a lot about themselves doing this. And this could actually decrease their chances of seeking sexual pleasure outwardly and in the wrong places. Because whether you like it or not, our need for sexual pleasure and satisfaction is on our hierarchy of needs. This cannot be stressed enough. So everyone needs to be able to give themselves their own sexual pleasure. And any information that can help us do this should be shared, right? And not withheld from each other because it's in the benefit of our health. So this next bit, this is going to go out to the ladies and then I'm going to get to the guys after. But for the ladies, if you are just starting to learn how to masturbate, I do not want you to get too hard on yourself. Okay. A woman's journey of orgasming through masturbation is a lot different than a man's journey of orgasming through masturbation. Women are just not designed for our orgasms to come like 1, 2, 3, and bam, you're done. It's just not like that. So when you're first starting out, just feel feels good. You don't even have to have the idea of like, oh, I want to have an orgasm right now. This is just about learning yourself, learning your body, and moving slowly, and then, baby stepping your way up. Which leads me to my masturbation tip for the ladies, which is to use all five senses. And when you use all five senses, you're going to improve your odds of being more present in the moment. You're going to feel more grounded. You're going to feel more connected to yourself. And this is what we're looking for. So, starting with sight, you can do two primary things. You can either look at yourself masturbating in the mirror, right? And you can see yourself and learn about yourself and see what's all down there. Or if you don't feel comfortable with that, maybe just quite yet, right? You can close your eyes and use your imagination. And again, like the reason why I'm okay with saying that you can close your eyes and use your imagination is quite frankly, some days we aren't going to feel sexy, right? And looking at ourselves in the mirror when we're not feeling sexy, sometimes we can look at ourselves when we're not feeling good and we can talk ourselves up. But sometimes when we look in the mirror and we're already not feeling good, that sometimes can push us in a more negative direction, depending on how sexy we actually feel. So, what's great about masturbation with your eyes closed is that you can picture yourself being sexy, being whatever it is that turns you on, or whatever fantasy you want to do, which will only help shift that mindset from feeling unsexy to the mindset of feeling sexy without actually having to see ourselves at all. But of course, in the long run, I don't want you to only masturbate with your eyes closed. I do want you to get to a place where you can look at yourself in the mirror. And I mean all of yourself, every inch, every curve, every hole. Because remember, the more someone loves their body, the less obstacles they'll have at achieving an orgasm later. The next sense is touch. And for touch, there's a lot of things you can do. You can experiment with different textures, like using toys that are ribbed, or you can play with toys that are cold and experiment with that sensation. But you can also use touch to literally feel your journey of getting turned on. Meaning, I do think it's fun to feel when your body is going from dry to wet, to physically feel what happens with our body when we are in that feeling of pleasure. But of course, if you want, you can use lube. Lube is our friend, not foe. But yeah, starting with yourself and turning yourself on and feeling that journey through your fingers. And then once that delicious wetness is there, take that as your opportunity to turn into your hearing sense, which means listen to the noises that are coming between your legs and find joy in that. Soak it in, reconnect yourself to what pleasure and sex actually sounds like. And you can also use this as an opportunity to experiment with noises, meaning even if you have to force yourself to make that groan or force yourself to make that grunt or whatever noise that you're too nervous to actually make, just do it. Look, I know it might feel a bit foolish at first if you're kind of like experimenting and forcing yourself to make those noises, but really all you're doing is giving back permission to your body and your vocal cords to just do their thing. Just to do their thing, right? We're meant to be like little musical instruments, okay? Like we can make a lot of noises. And come on, making noises is fun and therapeutic, so just let loose. Next is taste. And you better believe I'm going to tell you to taste yourself. But like, obviously, if you have a health condition going on down there, don't do this. But in general, I do want you to taste yourself and taste what your partner tastes. This is, again, another moment to really relish in yourself, relish in this body, this vessel that you're carrying, and get to know yourself. You should know yourself. And I don't mean just in your head, but your body as well. And this goes for scent too, in the sense that I want you to smell yourself. And I want you to smell what you smell like, not what some perfume or body spray, but you, just you. And funny enough, I'm actually reading a book right now that was written in 1976. And one of the quotes says that it is now impossible to find a woman who smelled of her own self. And flash forward to 2024, I feel like this couldn't be more true. And this goes for both men and women, right? This isn't just directed towards women. But I want you to remember that our scent has a lot to say about what's going on in our body. And if you constantly suppress that or you constantly mask that, you might not be able to pick up on some clues that your body is trying to tell you. For instance, sweat from a workout can smell completely different than when you're sweating if you're scared or nervous. And if your sweat really smells, and I mean like fucking bad, like you can't take it, then that actually might be a sign that your lymphatic system is blocked and backed up, and you really need to move that around within your body. But before I move on to some tips for male masturbation, I just want to reference some key points from episode 90, the benefits of the female orgasm. Because I just want to remind you, right? Female orgasms are more than just for pleasure. They can help us have better hair, better skin, better sleep. They can boost fertility, aid digestion issues, and even help women live longer. So, yeah, all you ladies out there, you better maximize your masturbation May, okay? But as for the gents, I also want you to slow it down. Okay. I also want you to pause. I also want you to kind of look at yourself and get to know your body too. And this includes getting to know your prostate, which is that little area that's also referred to as your male G spot. And your prostate is that walnut sized gland between the bladder and the rectum. And to find it, you're going to have to insert a little lubed up finger and put it about 2 inches into your rectum and curve it upwards towards your belly button. There in that area, that's where you're going to be able to expand on what pleasure can mean to you. Because let's face it, masturbation doesn't always have to revolve around a penis. But if you do want to masturbate and focus on your penis, of course, that's totally okay. And you can also incorporate toys. There's so much that you can do. There's fleshlights, there's pocket pussies, sex dolls, vibrators, cock rings. And you can also play with pressure, firmer, lighter, speed, temperature. You can also cool things down. Maybe you want to warm your hands up. Maybe you want to use lube that goes warmer, all sorts of things. And even, like we said, grip techniques. And you also don't want to forget about your balls too. But these are things that, males typically understand. But there's another area that males also should give attention to, which is their taint. The taint is also called the perineum. And this area is between the penis and the anus. And this area can be full of nerve endings. And for some, it can be super, super sensitive. But again, unless you try stimulating it, how are you going to know? So those are some areas that you should explore as well. And at the end of the day, regardless of what you've been told about masturbation is a tool for self regulation. It is a tool for self connection, and it's just pleasurable in general. But like all things that gives us pleasure, there are some instances when it can be all too consuming. For instance, if someone is masturbating because they have a porn addiction. But you also need to take accountability and responsibility. And this is really more directed towards women. You have a responsibility to make yourself orgasm. Okay. Like when I hear women say, oh, I've only orgasmed like once a month or once every other month, I'm busy, I'm tired. We have to regain our own responsibility for this, our own pleasure. That's something that we need to reconnect with ourselves from. So book some time out, get to know your body, and have fun. But yeah, that's it for this one. As for Monday's episode, we are going to be joined by Michael Vigataro. I'm very, very excited that he's coming on the show. Thank you, Brooke Brayla, for the connection here. I'm very excited to have Michael on the show. Michael is a sex therapist and the co-author of the book Treating Out of Control Sexual Behavior, Rethinking Sex Addiction, which is a sexual health assessment and treatment protocol. And this book won the SSTAR Health Professional Book Award in 2018. And as a psychotherapist, Michael provides individual, couple, and group psychotherapy for a range of sexual and behavioral health concerns, which include consensual sexual problems, relationship and sexual dissatisfaction, sexual disorders, and erotic identity development, which we are going to get into on Monday. But what I love most about what Michael writes about, which is many of the concepts in treating out of control sexual behavior, actually coincide within what Kinky Wellness can help you with. So I'm very excited for you to hear that episode. So make sure to tune in on Monday and it will be up. Thank you so much. Also, if you haven't subscribed to me on YouTube yet, please do that. And please keep sharing, guys. Keep sending these episodes to your friends and family and keep spreading the word on Kinky Wellness. I'm very much appreciative of it. And yes, the YouTube link will be in the description. But of course, you can always just search The Partition, home of Kinky Wellness, and you should find me. But that's it for me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, a lovely, lovely weekend. And as always, you guys know what to do. Stay kinky.